Thank you. I wanted to go back to Larry on the Mr. Willis on, and maybe we also can have some comments from Mr. Shaw on the questions that were just there. Some things that had just been said about the amount of money that was received by transit agencies in the CARES Act actually exceeds the annual fare box receipt, and that there isn't more help that's actually going to be needed for transit to continue on. I know that in the Chicago area, working with the CTA in Metra, I know how much they have not taken in compared to what they usually do, and that the funding that they received in the CARE Act is not enough to make up for that loss. So I just wanted to give an opportunity to Mr. Willis and Mr. Shaw to they want to respond to that.
Tom, you want to go first, or? I'll start. No, you're right. I mean, obviously, you've got transit agencies that, you know, are all across the country, MTA in New York, Metra, CTA in your backyard, that are just seeing rapid fall off. You know, I forgot the percentage, but I think, you know, on commuter rail, it's still 90+%. You know, buses obviously have more traffic. But again, when you think about public transit, it's just not the fare box that you got to think about. It is the local tax collection that they have. And by the way, this is a highway problem as well. We know that highway construction projects are being threatened with being closed down, being suspended, having capacity of State Department of Transportation curtailed with layoffs there because local gas taxes aren't keeping up with those projects. So it's not just a transit problem, it is a highway program problem as well. And as we think about investing in infrastructure as an economic stimulus down the road, if we don't maintain our capacity on the construction side, at state DOT side, using infrastructure investments to grow and restart our economy, it may be that much more difficult. And I would put transit in that exact same bucket. So, you know, we got to support these critical nodes of transportation here to be sure.
Mr. Shaw wants to add anything to that before I come back to Mr. Willis for an Amtrak question.
I would just say that the money that was given to SEPTA, I don't know how they use it or if they're using it. I would say that more money would be to work on a filtration design that would protect the passengers as well as the operators, and more engineered designs on partitions. Again, I don't know what SEPTA is using their money for.
Okay. Going back to Mr. Willis, you mentioned in your testimony Amtrak's recent announcement about laying off or buyout for 20% of their workforce, which also concerns me after they received $1 billion in federal funding. What labor protection with respect to Amtrak should Congress consider in a future COVID-19 package to ensure Amtrak is appropriately treating its workers?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. One is, I do think Congress has to make sure that the Amtrak that we have today is the Amtrak, quite frankly, that we get back after passengers come back and the economy comes back a little bit. You know, it's a national network. It's designed like that. It's supported as a national network by Congress, and you know, allowing this to be an excuse, quite frankly, to roll back on long distance routes, roll back on certain corridors, curtail onboard service, we think would be a mistake. So I think making sure that Amtrak is committed to its system and its network is critical. And yes, I think that just like we did with the CARES Act legislation on the aviation side, making sure that this money is used and goes to payroll, and make sure that those workers are able to stay on the job. As I said in my opening, I think the layoff plan that they've proposed is misguided, and I think pairing funding with an obligation to make sure that money flows to workers and that those furloughs are not done is important.
Thank you. My time is up. I yield back.
Thanks, Dan.